Well, hello and welcome back, everyone. It's such a pleasure to see everyone here tonight, and we want to welcome you to Magical Witchy World TV. I am Star Ravenhawk.
And I am Rhonda Allen. Welcome back this week. And this week we might as well get on with the show.
All right. Hello, KERR. Good to have you
Hello.
with us tonight.
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome, and welcome. So happy to have you on the show with us this week. Thank you for making the time to join us.
Yes.
We do tend with all of our shows to introduce our guests to our watchers and listeners. So let me go through your bio first, and then we'll go on to our interview. Okay. So, KERR CUHULAIN retired from the Vancouver Police Department in November 2005 after serving 28 years with them. He was awarded the Governor General's Exemplary Service Medal. KERR's past job assignments within the Vancouver Police Department include the Emergency Response Team, Hostage Negotiator, Child Abuse Investigator, Gang Crime Unit, and the Mental Health Emergency Services Unit. KERR worked for 8 years as a police dispatcher for ECOM for southwestern BC. KERR for 56 years and has been involved in anti-defamation activism and hate crimes investigations for the pagan community and police agencies across North America since 1986. KERR was awarded the Shield of Valor by the Witches League for Public Awareness. KERR is also the author of several nonfiction books, including Law Enforcement Guide to Wicca, Pagan Religions, Witch Hunts, Wiccan Warrior, Full Contact Magic, Magical Self-Defense, Modern Knighthood, and How to Be Glorious, with more on the way. KERR authored the 182 articles of the column on anti-defamation issues and hate crimes on the Witch's Voice website called Witch Hunts. KERR is the former Preceptor General of Officers of Avalon at officersofavalon.com, an organization representing neo-pagan professionals in the emergency services, such as police, firefighters, emergency medical technicians. KERR is the founder and past Preceptor General of an Order of Knighthood, the Order of Paladins. Thank you for joining us
Awesome.
again,
Yay.
and welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So happy
Yes.
to have you here. So I'm going to kind of usually I want to start off with asking a person like what got them to where they are right now. But what it means is that I don't know what you called yourself at the beginning. I don't know if you called yourself Wiccan or pagan or whatever it was at the beginning. But that arc that you took to where you're saying, okay, this is who I am now. So what was that like? What was that arc like? And what was the different titles, or if any at all? Or if just.
When I was in elementary school, my father, who was from England, decided that I wasn't seeing enough of the classics, by which he meant Greek mythology, basically. So he got me children's versions of the Iliad and the Odyssey and this sort of thing. And that's what sort of pointed me in that direction. But it was in high school that I found a book by Sybil Leek. And then
Yes,
that,
remember
and then I
that.
went, yeah, this is it.
That's me.
So,
That's me.
and in those days, there was no internet. You had to get books, and you had to try and meet people and look at bulletin boards and bookstores and stuff.
Mhm.
But then, I decided that the career that I wanted to pursue was as a peace officer, and I discovered about 2 weeks after I had started at the academy that I had told everybody that I was Wiccan, but not thinking there was any reason to keep that secret. And I found I was the first police officer to do that. And then I had to figure
Wow.
out, what am I going to do now? I have to defend myself here. So
Yeah.
basically, I could have gone litigious. I could have gone educational. I went educational. I spent decades going all over North America, talking to mostly police corrections audiences, because you could go there as a civilian, but you're not one of them. If you go there and you've got the uniform, they're willing to listen to you a little more easily. So it's just easier to get in there and get the information in.
Right.
And every single
Yeah.
time I did that in 25 years, at the end of the presentation, I had at least one person come forward, say, okay, if you can do it, I can do it. I'm pagan too. So
Yeah.
That is so
you know.
huge. Yeah, that opens the door. You're giving people permission to just,
Yeah. Yeah.
acknowledge who they are. On that note, just the idea of acknowledging who you are, what what brought you into this world? You mentioned something about your dad and how, he kind of had you in the direction, and you went into the library and you started reading and doing all these things. But what brought you? How did you find, what was the seed within you that said, okay, my spiritual journey, my spiritual path is something different?
It was beginning to recognize that the dream that I had to follow was my own, and the power that I had already. I just had to learn how to use it. It's a matter of mastering this. Master this, everything else takes care of itself. It has to do partially my path with getting involved in martial arts, Japanese martial arts, karate originally. Earlier on, then you could see very easily, in pagan circles, they're talking about using energy, and they are in a JoJo too. You're talking about moving chi, right?
Yeah.
And you can see how the two go together. And you look at something like Miyamoto's book of 5 Rings. Miyamoto Musashi, famous samurai warrior, and I mean, it's the 5 elements that we have within Wicca.
There we
It
go.
all fits together. So
Connected, yeah.
it ended up me
Wow.
being not just talking to police audiences about what pagans were, in real life. It was talking to pagans and try to explain to them what a warrior is,
Right.
how that works. Because you would
Interesting.
go to festivals and you'd find pagans who were acting as warriors, who were security, let's say, and they're out there on the perimeter and everyone else is in the circle. And they're
Yes.
sort of being excluded because I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to
Yes.
make of you. So it's a matter of showing people what that archetype looks like and how to use it. And, some of us, because of our professions, are in it more often than not, but there are other archetypes out there that you can use as well. So it's not a matter of it being the one and only. It's just one that you can use effectively. It's not about being aggressive. It's about being effective. It's not about using these. It's about using that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Excellent. Wow. So thank you for sharing that.
No,
Thank you for
absolutely.
sharing that.
See, I originally contacted KERR because I was so impressed with a book that he wrote in 1997 called The Law Enforcement Guide to Wicca, paperback, which was published in 1997. And it was a book that was placed in law enforcement departments all across the country because of how much information that was there to explain to police officers that witches are not Satanists or even whatever their presumptions were. And to me, I found that book very pivotal with a lot of things. It saved a lot of people's lives in many years.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, it did, because I was so impressed by that book. So I wanted to kind of it was supposed to be giving you another question, but I had to bring that in. And so I would love to have you just talk about that for a moment and what you did with it, and how you came up with it. I think that would be so.
It was one of the original one was kind of a pamphlet, and it came out in 1994, and it was basically, I'm tired of getting stopped in the hallway and asked by people if I'm a Satanist. Do you have a minute to explain this? And instead, I handed this to them and say, read that and get out of my way because I'm busy. It was trying to take all the basic stuff. We were just at the end of the satanic panic. There was all kinds of misinformation being thrown around out there. And what I was doing was trying to show people what the actual facts were and uncover all of the people running around claiming to be survivors of this sort of stuff, because all they were trying to get money, power, and influence by using people's fears. And the easiest way to deal with it is simply to stand up in front of them and say, here I am.
They must
What's
surprise.
scary about this?
Yeah.
It's. I
Yeah.
went to Bob Larson, who's a major radio evangelist and involved in that sort of stuff, was doing a presentation in my hometown, Vancouver, in this auditorium. You get 8,000 people in this thing, and he
Wow.
had the night before gone off on some thing about witchcraft, and he had there was a group, a space at the front of the auditorium that filled up last when he came in, and that's where all the people who were
Yeah.
pretending to be whatever they were.
Right.
There were shills. It was so obvious, and he stood out there and said, "I bet there isn't anyone in this crowd tonight, any witches in this crowd who are willing to talk to me." And my wife was sitting beside me, gave me the elbow.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And I had a
It's your
High
turn.
Plains Church of Wicca T-shirt with a logo this size was a pentagram. I start walking down, and they go, "Uh-oh," because this is a real thing.
See?
And he knew who I was.
Excellent.
And I ended up on the
Yes.
stage with him, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Satan has joined us on the stage, and he wears a badge." And I said, "No, don't say that,
Gosh.
because you know
Idiot.
who I am and what I am, and you know that I love everybody in this room." And it's just silent. And he tried everything he could to get me angry.
Yeah.
And in the end, he said, "Well, you're the nicest witch I ever met. Go away." Like. And on my way back up to
See?
the back, 10 people stopped me and said, "You're not what I expected." And I went,
No.
"What did you expect?" And the last one was a young kid saying,
Exactly.
"Before I heard of Bob Larson, I'd never heard of Satanism. He turned me onto it." And I went, "Where's my tape recorder?"
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff that you
amazing.
had to do,
Yeah.
basically.
To be fighting people on that note.
And that's the work. Honestly, that's the seed to why this show exists. Because when Star and I came up, we were talking about it. How do we help just spread the word that we're like everybody else in the community that you're
Yeah.
seeing? We're like the other people you pass on the street. And the work that you were doing back in the early 90s, late 80s, whatever the case may be, clearly blazed a path. We're still having those conversations,
Well,
though,
we're
and
dealing
that
with
is,
modern
again, we're still
versions of it
having
now.
those
We've got
conversations.
QAnon. It's the same thing
my
dusted
God.
off, and here we go again.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no difference.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you kind of put it into that context of QAnon is that version of what they were trying to do back then.
Mhm.
And the only thing is they've got a bigger platform to put it
Yes.
on, and
Yes, they do.
it's given
Now we have
whole
internet.
cult, so
Yes.
we have to fight it on that level. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that is a big deal, and all the misunderstandings and the constant words witch hunt and stuff, and I want to smack someone upside the head every time. And I'm like,
They say
not
that,
talking nonsense that you know nothing about, obviously. Otherwise, if you were educated enough, you would not be using it in such a manner.
There's a documentary that just came out last month. It's making its round of the film festivals right now. It's on CBC Gem and it's on Tubi in the States. It's called Satan Wants You, and it's where they brought a bunch of experts who are working on combating the satanic panic, including me, telling how that all works, starting with that awful book Michelle remembers. So if you want to know how this works,
excellent,
check that out.
So everyone, check that out.
Yes,
check that.
on
Satan,
TV.
say it again.
It's called Satan Wants You.
Awesome. Okay.
And in the States here, it's on Tubi, free, so everybody can
I'm
watch
gonna
it.
go. I'm gonna go watch that tonight, because I'm like,
yes, yeah. No, that's good stuff. And that just came out this past year, last year,
end of February this year.
Okay, awesome.
Of this year.
This year just came out. Just came out.
Must
Sean
watch.
Horler, who is a Canadian filmmaker, has been working on it for 2 years, and we did hours in the studio, and he's done a great job.
Okay, awesome.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. So, driving backwards a little bit, you shared some of the seeds, some of what brought you into the spiritual practice that you have, but tell us a little bit now about how magic is a part of your life. Like, how do you incorporate your magic, your spiritual practice in your everyday world?
I come from a martial arts background where you have to access energy instantly, right? That's what it's all about. I was at a festival once years ago in Colorado, and I had a friend who we were discussing what is the difference between a soldier and a warrior. And we went off to our classes because we hadn't settled it. And I saw him after the class running across the field, like having this epiphany. And it grabs me by the shoulder and he said, "Soldiers march, warriors dance." And I went, this is
wow.
it.
That's
You can
powerful.
do rituals. They're wonderful things. They are vitally important if you're trying to do initiations. There's all kinds of good stuff to say about them. You can have all the paraphernalia and the wands and the swords and everything you want, but the basic thing you have to understand is all you need is this. All of those are focusing tools, all of it. Even the words you're using in the spell are focusing tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you get that, my definition of magic is energy follows intent, period. You get that,
Wow.
you can do just about anything. And
Beautiful.
so it's not a matter of trying to tell people this is the perfect form of witchcraft and it's superior to everyone else. It's like whatever works for you is good. That's fine. But I want to show you what the basics are. So what you're using, you can use to the best possible ability. I've all years, all this has been about helping other people to find themselves. I have a test that I do that I show people that they have psychic ability. No one's ever failed it, and it's just, that's the kind of thing you want to do. The Order of Paladins was already about, let's experiment with stuff. Let's see if we can get to another level. And for example, everybody's got a wand. If you're Wiccan, you've got your magic wand.
Yeah.
What you do is you do some very simple energy exercises to get people to feel the flow of that chi. And then what you do is you blindfold them all and you say, somebody out there has one of these and is stirring up energy. I want you to point at them. And on the first attempt, 80% of them will turn and point straight at it because you've primed them, you've got them going. And the other 20% will point directly away. And it's not because they failed, it's because they're looking downstream instead of upstream. As soon as they figure that out, everybody's able to do it over and over again. It's coming up with exercises like that to show people
everybody's got
in
something.
Real life you can do this. It's that sort of stuff that I write about.
That's awesome.
That's powerful. That's good stuff. Yeah.
So
it's simplifying things. It's taking things down to it's very, basic levels. Nothing wrong. You can have a lot of fun with rituals and not saying you shouldn't be doing circles and stuff, but in our nights don't cast. We create a circle, but we don't put up words. Because if someone's dumb enough to throw something nasty at us, we're all going to go, what? And deal with it and then get on with it, because we're warriors, right? I'm not going to let you do that. So this is my battlefield.
Well said. Right.
Your home turf kind of a thing. All right. So kind of, if you can tell us a little bit on what is important to you right now. I mean, you may also mentioned that Satan is what's the name of, I keep
Satan Wants You, that
Satan Wants You. It's so similar, but I keep trying to say something else. But it kind of reminds you of when they said military wants you or the army wants you, that kind of a thing. Kind of reminds me of that a bit.
What that documentary is about.
What do you consider important to you?
Is how somebody tells a lie and then uses that to frighten people into supporting them and getting them to protect them. You pay me money and I will protect you, kind of a thing. This is one of the principal differences between pagan religions and Abrahamic ones is they have thou shalt not. They have this big list. I do I will not. I take responsibility. This isn't about guilt.
Responsibility,
We don't do guilt. We do responsibility. I own this. If I do something and it affects somebody adversely, I fix it. That's the bottom line. It's
responsibility.
So it's a matter of leaving as few footprints on the world as you can. It's going forward and taking responsibility for what you do and taking it all seriously. And it makes such a big difference in your life. People don't steal things because there's a list somewhere. They don't steal things because they know, they've learned this is going to hurt somebody. So I'm not going to do that. That's what we need to do. We need to teach people how to think. I'm really disappointed with the educational system these days because it's memorize these facts. That means you have to trust the person giving you the facts. instead of let's teach you Aristotelian logic. Let analyze this. Does this make sense to you? You know,
Yeah.
let's think. That's what Einstein
Yes, let's
told us. It
think.
isn't about memorizing
Think
things. It's about
ourselves.
learning how to use your head. You know. So
Exactly. Exactly.
that's what I'd like to see. I see all kinds of different groups out there trying to find versions of pagan belief that works for them, and that's great. Whatever works for you, that's
Right.
perfect. We're all different. We're not all trying to be the same.
Right.
If you're
Right.
trying to
Right.
create a big organization where everyone's the same, you failed right there, because that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You know, I'm now helping
Truth.
people. We have I'm with the World Asterisms Project of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. We're a reconciliation project helping First Nations and cultures all over the world to recover their sky cultures, because we used to look at the stars and use them. You used to have a ritual and say, and it was a storyboard above your head. I'm teaching people how to do that again.
That's
That
right.
You
is
know, so now we've
beautiful.
so far got 578 cultures and over 15,000 star asterisms out there, and we're still building it,
Wow.
and it's only 3 years old. So yeah,
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
That literally takes us, that literally is part of the topic I was going to ask about, which is the work you're doing right now within community, or what your
it's
relationship is, or what your thoughts are with community right now.
it's about perspectives. It's about how people can
Yeah.
all look at the same thing and see something quite different. The best way to solve a problem is to get a whole bunch of people with completely different perspectives into the room, because one of those will be the key. It's that's I've done a documentary on astrophysicists who are 2S LGBTQ+ and put it out there, because like
Yeah.
they aren't what you think either. You know, like this different is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. We're all different. It's good. Let's get used to the idea. Let's stop this. Let's all try to be the same thing.
Yeah. How
Garbage, and let's
boring.
just everybody try
Yeah.
to be entirely what you are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's it.
And this perspectives thing is a
Live
great
your
example,
truth.
because it shows people right up front that you can look at the Big Dipper and you see 85 different things depending on what part of the world you came from, and they're all quite different. So
Right.
Yes. And they're all okay, and they're all correct.
and they're all okay.
Yeah.
They're all great
Absolutely.
stories.
That's it.
Absolutely.
They're just a
That
different
is
way of
fabulous.
looking at it. You know.
Accepting
No,
that
and
diversity.
and
That's good
reclaim
for you.
and getting back to yes, and
Yeah, it's like
I'm saying breathing life into those stories again.
you're at the
As you were saying,
observatory and
some
you're
of these
looking
may
at
have been
Orion, and you're looking at the Hyades cluster, and you're looking at the Pleiades, and you're taught that this is a hunter and this is a bull. Not if you're Maori.
yeah.
The Pleiades is the foam at the front of the boat. The head of the bull, that's actually Tainui's sail, and those 3 stars in the bill of the glittering waters going off of the back of the canoe. So I mean, there's all kinds of
See?
different stories out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right. So
Fabulous.
kind of running into that a bit too, but I would like to ask you, what would you like to see us as pagans or witches, Wiccans, whatever, accomplish? What do you like to see us accomplish?
I think we're done with 101. I think we need to go
Okay.
out there. I think we need to go out there and be heroes and make a difference in the world. I was mentioning earlier when we were before this show started, I was at an event where I was pushing the broom, in a mess hall at this big pagan event, and some young person ran over and said, "You're a big name pagan, you can't do that." Terry O'Reilly from the ETC came over and said, "Kid, he's being an elder. It's good." I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to go out there and show people this is what it looks like. I was involved in interfaith work. I was a chaplain at a Catholic hospital as a Wiccan. And
Fabulous.
it's a matter of look, we're all standing here together from different paths and smiling and getting along. It's like there was an Anglican minister in the Surrey Interfaith Council I was working with, and he says, "You know what I like about this? Your perspective illuminates mine." And I went, "Yeah."
There you
That's
go.
it.
There you go.
So we need
That's
to
exactly right.
work together.
Yeah.
You're different,
Yes.
good. Doesn't threaten me. Let's have fun together. Let's work
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And that
Well said.
is like such a thing right now. We're watching the world combust and implode. basically wanting everyone to be the same or follow whatever they're doing or nothing. Either you do what I say and follow whatever I say, or it's you're to be annihilated or put down or bullied or abused. And it's exactly what we need right now, for everybody to see that we are different and celebrate that difference,
Yes.
and see it
Feel
for
the
what it
value.
is and accept it for what it is and be
It could
adult
be
in the room.
something very simple. Where I used to live in Surrey, I found that when I was out walking, I'd be passing people, and people would tend to look away. They don't want eye contact. They're not sure what you're going to do. And I always, usually, when I'm not wearing one of these, I'm wearing a hat, right?
Yeah.
So as I'm walking up, I see this person approaching me. I'll go, "How are you today? Have a nice day."
Yes.
If you do that for 2 months,
Mhm.
what happens is more than half of them start doing it back. They start going, "Oh, how are you?"
Yeah.
And not just to you, to everybody.
And that's a good
It's as
thing
simple as
again.
that. Hold the door for somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I
simple stuff. I'm not
Give
saying
it.
go out and try and win major battles. Just simple things all add up, and it gets you there.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Absolutely true.
it works. Because I remember when I first came to New York, um, I was very much into saying hi to everybody or smiling with everybody, and it just was my nature that I grew up in Canada
Mhm.
like that. And
Yeah.
they would look at me like if I'm weird, or they would say, "Why are you being so weird?" Or literally say things to me, and I'd be like, "What do you mean? I'm just saying hi."
Yes.
And they made me feel so bad after a while. It took years of just finally I just stopped. I just stopped
Yeah.
saying it altogether. And I live here now, and I don't do what I used to do when I first came here, which was just simply smile at everybody and say hi to everybody without thinking about it. It was not something that I tried to do. It was just what I was,
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yep. Yep.
it
That's
does
the
take
thing.
its toll after a while when they kind of, make it feel like if you're being
Go out
such
there and do
a
it
bad
again.
thing. Huh?
Yeah. It
Go out there and do it again.
I know, right?
when I
I'm
got
gonna try that again. I'm gonna try to just be me
It's
the
your
way I
power.
was
Use it.
before. Yeah,
right on, right on. And it does make people uncomfortable at first when it's something they're not used to. They are
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thrown off and look at you sideways like, "What are you talking about? Why are you talking
All
to
of
me?
the
Do I know you?"
all of the major problems that I ran into when I was doing all those decades of anti-defamation work were in small towns where everyone tried to be the same. When you went into a larger
Mhm.
city where there was a much more diverse population, you didn't have the same problems because people were
Yeah.
used to seeing things that were
Different.
different.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
So
And
go out
that's it.
there and look different,
yeah.
That's
like,
it. Embrace it.
yeah.
Love it. So tell us about what projects you have coming up or things you're thinking about doing. What's next on the agenda?
Well, I told you about the World Astrosense Project, but
Yes.
it's been quarter of a century since I wrote the Law Enforcement Guide and Wiccan Warrior. And when I wrote that, I was a dumb young person who was doing the best he could with what he had at the time. And I look back and laugh because, God, if I knew, I didn't know anything. So I'm writing a new one now. I'm saying,
Fabulous.
okay,
Which one are you writing a new one of?
basically
Both.
this is the warrior, but he grew up. This
Okay.
is
Wow.
the elder talking to you now. This is the same thing that Miyamoto Musashi did with his Book of Five Rings. He went, meditated, sat down, took a few years, and went, okay, now I understand how that worked,
Yeah.
and it has worked. And back then it was
Yeah.
saying, I hope this works. Now I'm saying, I look what I'm doing here. Okay, so
Right.
it's a matter of going for whatever you want. If you had told me you're going to be directing and writing screenplay when I retired from the police department, I've laughed at you. And that's exactly what's happened now. If you had mentioned you're going to be leading a worldwide project on recovering skies for cultures, I'd have probably done the same thing. And when I said I was going to do it, people said, nobody's ever done that because it's just too huge. You're crazy. And I went, bring it.
Yep. There we go. Love
And we're
that.
there. And they're going, oh my God, he did it. Like, yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly. How large is the group now? You've been at this for a couple of years with the
Oh, well, I
recovering.
mean, if you're talking about the World Astrosense Project, we've got teams in Australia and South America and Africa and Belarus and all over the place.
That is
Awesome.
fabulous.
You know, who have been working on their individual areas, and now we've got it all combined. And the idea is now you can see how your story links into their story next door, and how
Yeah.
these stories travel around the world, and how perspectives, how you can have the emu in the sky in Australia, which becomes the rhea in South America, which becomes the ostrich in Africa, and so on. And how you can do stories
Right.
in the sky,
Yeah.
because 2/3 of the
Yeah.
world's population can't see the sky anymore because of the misuse of artificial light at
Yes.
night. And so
I
we're not
know,
used
I
to the
know.
idea that there's something up there. And it's amazing how many people will come to my observatory where I have a sky,
Yes.
and they go, "What is that glowing cloud in the sky?" And you go, "It's your home.
Yes.
It's your
Yeah.
galaxy."
It's-
But you can't see it
exactly.
where you are because people are messing around with lights. But
Right.
Yeah.
all kind, this is where people used to put their ancestors and their stories and all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
So it's
Absolutely.
a resource that a lot of people don't think to use, and it belongs to everybody. So that's
Beautiful.
basically what I'm. This Pagan
Looking-
Skies Project. It's on Facebook, and I do a monthly meeting. And if you're interested in Pagan Skies, drop in.
Okay. All
I had
right.
some people who are interested in Minoan culture saying, "Could you possibly tell us if there was anything in this sky that was related to Ariadne?" I went, "Give me 10 seconds. Let me just think."
Amazing.
Yeah, that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
you gotta do what you
Love
gotta
it.
do. That's awesome.
Love it.
You mentioned when we were speaking before the show about your book. I think you got a reprint of the book or something like that.
Pagan Religions. What happened was the Law Enforcement Guide to Wicca, the publisher, was a small publisher, went out of business, and I found a new publisher. But I wanted to, because I had every single time I did a public appearance, I had people from all kinds of other walks of life, from the gay community, from the Jewish community, from Freemasons, whatever, saying good for you, because they're having problems with the same people. We're trying to do this one size fits all thing. So I wanted to try and include as many different paths in there as possible. And the Druids and the Ostrich community gave me a whole lot of stuff and said, "You do it."
Oh wow.
You're the author. You do.
Okay.
So this has got a lot more
So
pagan
it's
stuff.
now
than it used
it's
to.
called Pagan Religions now.
Yes, that's why it's called Pagan
awesome,
Religions.
awesome. So
And
people check it
and it's-
out, Pagan Religions, okay?
And
But it's
do we
it's a
have the
resource
publisher?
for if you're having problems with a local department. Give them this.
And
Okay.
who's the publisher on that one? Or we can find that at any of our
Yeah,
favorite.
you can get it.
Okay.
It's Acorn Guild Press in Portland, but you can get it on Amazon.
Probably Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. Awesome. 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 And do you have any events that you're doing this year? What's coming up?
I was doing events for years, but then I ended up being the national president of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. And I go, it's way too busy to do anything other than astronomy.
Yeah.
And I founded their inclusivity and diversity committee with another member from the Calgary Center, and because if you're 150 years old, it's about time we did something like that. And it was a bunch of people said, "Oh, this is an idea I joined. Like there's a door, don't slam it on the way out." And our numbers in the middle of COVID went up.
Wow.
Because everyone's saying, I'm welcome here now. Like,
yes.
I had people that I've been
is
working with for
beautiful.
years say, like, "Oh, that's a great project, that 2SLGTBQ plus astrophysicist thing you're doing." And I said, "I didn't know you were interested in that." And went, "Well, I'm gay." And I went, "When did that happen?" Like, I just didn't tell anybody before because I didn't feel safe enough. And okay.
Wow.
That's the first president of the RESC who has been Wiccan.
That is
There you go.
awesome. I mean, talk about, I love it. I love just every step. Everything is a step forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it represents a lot of people. I like that.
Yes.
It is 5,000 members in 30 centers across Canada, and I'm working with people all over the world doing that. I'm a member of Astronomers Without Borders as well. I've helped the a whole bunch of people in Uganda start the Uganda Astronomical Society and sent them telescopes.
Wow.
So, you know,
That
I
is
mean, there's all
awesome.
kinds of stuff that I'm doing to try and help people any way that I can. But
That's awesome.
it is all comes back to that pagan basis. Take responsibility, own your power, use it.
Right.
And and harm none, do what thou wilt. And harm none is great. Okay, wonderful thing to live up
Mm-hmm.
to. But the other part
Mm-hmm.
says, go out there and be glorious. Seize the day. Be all you can be.
Yes.
Go for it. That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
amazing how many people don't
Do
get
that part.
that. They don't do that part.
Yes.
So do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All
I love the
right.
simplicity of that statement. Awesome. This has been fabulous. Let's just
Yeah.
make certain we know where people can find you. You mentioned before the show that you are on Facebook, so people can just look you up
I
on
am on
Facebook. Is
Facebook.
that
There
the best?
also is a website for the Order of Paladins. Just put in Order of Paladins, you'll find it. And
Okay.
we have members all over the world. It's not a big organization, which doesn't surprise me because it's people who are really committed to this sort of stuff. But that's good. We don't advertise, but
Yes.
people show up when they
Awesome.
get
That's
all the good,
all that
all the
matters.
good
That's
people.
all that
That's what we
matters.
need
That's
That's
all.
all that matters.
That's it.
So yeah.
All right. Thank you again so much for being with us tonight. It was
Well,
such
thank
a
you for
pleasure
giving me the
having you with
time.
us. Yeah.
It has been a fabulous conversation. I've been actually, while you've been speaking, I'm writing notes and I'm taking my list of what
Sounds like we got to do
what are
this
my
again
next
sometime.
reads? What
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we likely will need to do
Yeah.
that. Thank you so much for
Okay,
joining us.
thank you.
We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the evening. And now a word from our sponsors.
All right. Okay. So tonight we have a bit of intuitive astrology with us, and a lot of it is kind of pertaining around that Libra full moon that we just had, lunar eclipse, because it's the beginning of the eclipse season, March 25th. So, and a lot of it will affect us all the way through to April 5th. So we decided we're going to talk about that, and then in April we will begin with other things. So as we said, the
Excuse
eclipse
me.
season began on March 25th, and a lot with the Libra full moon that was partial lunar eclipse. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot of opposing forces, such as work versus home, or what you need versus what you want. And we want you to create inattention. There has been a lot of creation of inattention and external pressures. This can lead to conflict and crises that drain your energy. So all the lunar qualities of emotions and instincts will climax during this time. And it's going to, again, all the way through to April 5th. So use your increased emotional strength and intuition to overcome any relationship challenges, because it's based around a lot to do with relationships, whether it's familial or friendly or business-wise or whatever. So subconscious awareness allows for an honest and balanced look at all relationships. You will see any relationship dynamics or negative feelings causing any disharmony as well. As the first eclipse, it sets the stage for some deep emotional relationship work that will continue to unfold all the way over the next coming 12 months. We are growing as individuals. KERR just mentioned us becoming adults in the sense of holding ourselves accountable. So as we grow as individuals, and consequently, we are growing in our partnerships as well. So everyone we meet can be a mirror into a deeper portal within us that is waiting to be explored. This time is calling for us to transform and let go of dynamics that are no longer working for us, especially when it comes to our connections with others. The portal that opened under this Libra lunar eclipse is one of endings, bringing things to closure. It seems that we are being guided to bring something to a close. Perhaps it's a thought pattern, maybe a way of belief, or perhaps it is something more tangible, like the ending of a job, relationship, or a chapter of our lives that we need to move on from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get deeper, Hannah.
Let's take a deep dive. Let's dive deep into the astrology behind this eclipse. Yes. So, this Libra eclipse and relationships matters. We're going to dive into all of that, signaling a major turning point for some of our closest connections, be they romantic, professional, or platonic. Powerful pairs formed now can withstand the test of time regardless of their nature. So again, this is really a powerful eclipse season. The scales of Libra represent the balance between giving and receiving in our lives. Where are we giving too much and where are we not giving enough? So, assessment. These questions are likely to be on our minds under this eclipse and at the root of any issues that come up for us. Again, where are we giving too much? Where are we not giving enough? Our relationships are a big focus during this first eclipse as Libra energy gets us to look at how we show up in our partnerships with others and what we're giving and receiving. Again, we're looking at balance again, Libra. So, are we being truthful and authentic to ourselves? Do we like who we become when we are in certain relationships? Libra energy does a great job at helping us to focus on the other person and to think about things from their point of view. So, Libra energy is what we can call in when we want to feel compassionate or to see what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes. While it can be tempting to bring all of our attention to the other person and everything they're doing or not doing, this can be a bit of a trap under the eclipse energy. At its core, and this is important to pay attention, at its core, Libra energy reminds us that everyone we meet is a teacher and really just a reflection of a deeper part of ourselves. We are all one, we are all one, and we are all fragments of each other. So, what we see in others and what we struggle with in others is a powerful lesson for us too. And that's not to say that we need to tolerate bad behavior or give excuses to stay in toxic situations, but it does allow us to look at things through the eyes of learning and deepening our own connection with the self. So again, powerful eclipse season.
Yes, and that a great beginning. So
Yeah.
again, bringing up the idea of relationships. So if a
Mhm.
challenging relationship dynamic comes under this labor eclipse, I want you to explore deeper than just pointing the finger or looking to blame someone. Accountability is a big deal. So go deeper. Ask what this may be trying to show or teach you. Hold up a mirror to the situation and look at what is being reflected back. Ask yourself that those questions like what lessons can be learned from this. It is never easy to do this on your own, and sometimes it also takes time for all of these questions to be realized. But see if you can hold space under this March eclipse to bring some attention and focus back onto yourself and ask how this situation can empower you
Mhm.
and make it better for you. Relationships that feel rocky or unstable are likely to be tested during the rest of the eclipse time, all the way through April 5th. You may find that dynamics that are no longer serving come up for review, or what your
Mhm.
thoughts and feelings around relationships may be changing. Okay, you're changing, adapting, and moving on from there. Venus sextile Jupiter at this time, which is more about love, good fortune, cooperation, and a desire for peace, is playing out here as well. So it is a pleasant, loving, and creative influence that encourages cooperation, peace, and harmony. So this is why we're
Right on.
striving for. As to where we could get there or not, we shall
Which
see. Go ahead, Rhonda.
this is the work, right? This is the work. So now let's look at the Libra eclipse and how it affects our values. So, looking at again, eclipse and how it affects our values. Creating partnerships. We've been speaking about relationships throughout. So, creating partnerships with others is one of the most profound parts of being human. It's one of the biggest journeys we have. On this journey, we may create partnerships with family, friends, and perhaps with a spouse and children. We have a multitude of different partnerships in life, and they are all powerful teachers, sources of joy, and amazing portals of growth. But as a human species, we seek out relationships and connections with others. That's our major work, that connection with others. We ask about community always in our interviews, so that's that connection piece. We don't thrive unless we have them. So it's safe to say that relationships are hugely important. They are also some of the most difficult dynamics we will encounter. So relationships can bring out the best in us, but they can also bring out the worst. Yeah, we've all been down certain roads, right? They can trigger wounds and leave us traumatized, but they can also be places for love, safety, warmth, and protection. They come in all sorts. Relationships come in all sorts. And under this Libra lunar eclipse, we may find ourselves assessing the health of the relationships we've created in our lives. So, are we receiving as much as we're giving? We may find ourselves questioning what we desire from our relationships and consequently what love means to us. We may find that what we once valued has changed, you know? So Libra is ruled by the planet Venus, and along with being the goddess of love, she also rules over our values. So I want you to think about what you really value. Think about what you value out of your relationships, but also life in general, and then see if those values are being met or not. All right. Be honest and reflect on whether your actions are moving you closer to those values or away from them. Again, eclipse season, we got work to do.
Yeah,
All
yep, yep.
right.
And I want you guys to do something. I want you to start visualizing your dream kind of relationship, whatever it is, whether it's the business one, your romantic relationship, your friend relationship, your familiar relationship. I want you to think of that relationship that you want and visualize that dream relationship. Use
Mhm.
the residual effects of this Libra moon's energy to visualize what you wish to attract in your relationships. Think about writing down what you want your ideal partner to be like. Again, whatever the spectrum of it, whether it's business, romantic, friendly, familial, whatever it is. I want you to think about it and what your ideal partner to be like would be. And write down their qualities, their values, and what they may like to do. And then
Mhm.
think about what the most perfect and ideal relationship would be like for you. Write it all down and offer it up to the ether. And what I mean by offering it up to the ether is you can do this by offering by burning, ripping, or shredding the list of under the list of that you put together of all the
Mhm.
values or the type of dream relationship that you want. So once you shred it up under the at nighttime, under the moon, the rest of the time you have until the 5th, and you're going to burn it and offer it up to the ether, letting it out into that ether and letting it overall just kind of decide for you. Let the fates take with it. Overall, this is encouraging us to change the way we feel about our relationships by allowing us to recognize what we value most and how balanced our flow of giving and receiving is and should be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you guys to do that as your homework.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. More this is what we do. It's the work. But now on to the cards.
Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. So we're gonna shuffle the card, but
Ooh.
again, Rhonda, I'm gonna reach out to you. What do you want to think? What should we do? What do you suggest we should do with the card?
Well, we've been talking so much about relationships with this eclipse season, and
Yes.
eclipses are really interesting energies. It's like, we're going through lots of things in a really short period of time. So, what I'm just going to suggest is that we draw again one card one card. We're going to shuffle our cards. We're going to draw one card that could ask us for guidance in what we need to be focusing our attention on when it comes to our relationships in general. Whatever, business, professional, friendship, love, whatever. What is the one thing that we need as
Ooh.
guidance as we focus on our relationships in general? Uh-oh. All right. I haven't even shuffled my cards yet, and you already pulled yours. Oh my gosh. All
I
right.
was
Let me
thinking
go
about
ahead.
it and I was like, I know what I want to talk about. I was
Okay.
like, I know what I want mine to be about.
So-
And out it popped.
Oh my gosh. See,
I'm
that's
like,
how
I
things
kid
work,
you not.
right?
I kid you not.
That's how it
Yes.
works. All right. Well, I'm just going to pull my card after I shuffle and cut. So I should go
Oh,
ahead and read my cards. Oh my goodness. So, what is the thing? What is the thing I need to in general? So what do I need to be considering and what do I need to be focusing on when I look at relationships in general in my world? And I have the wheel of fortune. The wheel of fortune.
oh
The
wow.
lesson
Yes.
of the hermit. It's amazing. So what is this telling me? That the thing I need to consider, and this is going to blow minds, y'all. The thing I need to consider when it comes to relationships right now is that things are still in progress. This is still a time of learning. So I am still learning how to function, to be fully in myself, and to be fully able to connect and relate with others. And I'm still in that process of learning all of that. I say that because the four fixed signs, these little symbols in the corners, are still in the process of becoming. They all have their little books with them. But the wheel is telling me nothing is fixed yet. Nothing is finished. I'm still in the becoming state. This is all
Yeah.
about chance, opportunity, and luck. Things are still happening, things are still in the flow. And I need to be centered and to embrace options and opportunities as they come to me. What I just want to say about all of this, as this is the card I drew, I just want to follow up and say I was finishing my I have a 5-part tarot class that I teach, and one of the questions that we had was about relationships, and guess what my lesson was? The same card. I am not kidding you. That was
Oh my
last week, and it
goodness.
was the same card. So yeah, cards don't lie. Tell us what you got, Star.
Okay, so I got the 10 of Pentacles. And if you look at what a
Wow.
sweetheart that is. Look at the
Beautiful.
balance that I want you to maintain with all of them on top, all of the monies, all balanced out, the harmony, the peace, all the
Mm,
relationships going on at the same time. There's romance going on there. There's a little peace and happiness and the home, that large, nice home that you want, and the land, and
mm.
oy vey, it's just everything all at once. And I was just like, this is like everything I want, kind of a thing.
Yes.
And to me,
Yes.
I'm not necessarily with the romance part. I can take it or leave it. Really don't care much.
You,
I'm just stating the
well,
truth, the
you know,
facts. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I don't care. But
but
my money and my house and my peace and my harmony,
yes.
that's the bomb for me.
Yes.
That's what I want. That's what's going to bring me into balance and make me calm and peaceful and happy, knowing that I've got my castle and my land and everything.
Yes.
I'm good to go. The
Yes.
rest will fall into
Well,
place whether or not, But
see
yeah,
how the cards work. They will tell you what you need to know. That is
I was just
awesome.
like, woo, look at this.
That's a
This is
beautiful
it.
energy.
Yes,
That's a
yes.
beautiful energy. And I'm
All
just going,
right.
in your face. So in my face. But anyway, that was fabulous. Awesome. I can't tell
Yeah.
you enough. I could have spoken with Kerr for another 2 hours because there were
I
so many
know, right?
stories he has. So we may have to bring him back soon because there were so many stories. Oh my gosh, so many things. But yeah, so thank you again to KERR CUHULAIN for joining us tonight. That was amazing. And we'll be back next Friday. Well, we'll see who we're
Well,
going to have next Friday,
we're going to
but we'll
be
be back
having
next
Earl
Friday.
Williams. We're going to have Earl Williams on April 5th.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So
We had him up, and he had an illness, and now he's back April 5th. So we'll have
excellent.
Earl Williams then. So that would be wonderful to see him then.
Yes, fabulous. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I hope you do the homework. I hope this eclipse season works out well for you. And we will be back
Yay.
next
Yay, yay,
Friday.
yay. And we will
Have a
see you.
great week.
Oh, don't
Oh,
forget, like, share, subscribe, please. And share
yes.
some questions with us. We love having you stay
Yes.
questions for us, okay? So
And
please do that.
thank you
Thank
for joining us
you.
each week. And thank you for joining us in the chat.
And
We will
thank you,
see you.
KERR CUHULAIN. We so much
Yes,
enjoyed you.
we really did. We'll see you next week, everyone.
Okay.